Shwmai Bethany, welcome to 2016, blwyddyn newydd Llywyrchus. I have finally started reading the Felicia Day book that you gave me, and I'm finding it very enjoyable, and I'd like to take something from that, which is to enthusiastically share the things that you love. As I mentioned before, I love podcasts, and I dread to think of the small eternity I have wasted whiling away hours listening to them. When people think of podcasts, they assume that they are chatty affairs, either direct interviews or round tables with a handful of people discussing a certain topic or trying to be funny. And I'd like to open up a new podcast zone for you. Now, with that spirit in mind, I'd like to introduce you to two very creepy projects. The first I'd like to discuss is Lore. The episodes of this podcast are half essay, half ghost story, an unsettling look into the paranormal beliefs of various cultures, prominent mysteries or stories.
There is the world we all know, with its streets and houses and the bustle of everyday life. And then there is the other world, filled with places that are set away from the center of our lives, places that most of us rarely interact with. Graveyards are a good example of this, and maybe even hospitals. We go there for specific reasons, but only rarely, if we're lucky.
The topics are well researched and presented with a deftness of tone that draw you into the shadows with a gentle, almost hypnotic quality. The show was written and presented by Aaron Menke, a writer of supernatural thrillers, and his love for the subject matter is clear in every single second of the recording. He is clearly a very creepy boy, enjoying his very creepy things. This podcast is not a true believer naively retelling spooky stories. What you have here is an enthusiast and an accomplished storyteller, sharing tales that have endured over time and enriching them by reconciling them with true events and phenomena, while never coldly debunking or just pulling back the curtain. This podcast is immensely enjoyable, fascinating and informative, and it succeeds in its strange juggling act of illuminating truths while still remaining true to its core ethos, which is that we will always be drawn in by the intoxicating pull of mystery, with a capital M. And secondly, I'd like to take you to Limetown. This podcast is a return to the theatre of the mind, a real show, a radio play.
Reports of violence erupted today in the research facility known as Limetown, located in White County, Tennessee, and home to over 300 residents.
Emergency services have gathered to the isolated location as smoke rises from somewhere on the property.
The first time most people heard about Limetown was on the night of February 8th, 2004.
911, what is your emergency? Hello? 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 Are you there?
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. What is the nature of your emergency?
Emergency services in Limetown. Ambulance is around. The firemen, police, damages, and the whole army.
Ma'am, I'm going to have to ask you to calm down.
Turn it off. Turn it.
Ma'am, are you still there?
I feel the same way about Limetown as I do about Marble Hornets, a seminal YouTube horror series, in that I wish I'd caught the bus a little sooner when it perhaps wasn't entirely clear whether or not it was a work of fiction. The big hitter in the podcast world at the moment is a production called Serial, which is a real journalistic dive into real murder cases. Limetown then wears these investigative journalism trappings to tell the story of the mystery disappearance of an entire community of people years ago in Limetown. I could quite easily see this show done for TV. It would be very expensive, and it would be almost entirely devoid of colour, and it would be creepy. But despite the extra dimension of visuals, it would likely struggle to achieve the same level of creepiness that the podcast can achieve. The medium itself adds so much to your immersion in that world. Similar to with a book, you are doing a portion of the work in your own head. You're not simply seeing it on a screen. Because let's be honest, no matter how frightening the visuals of a movie or a television show are, it can't possibly be as frightening as it will be several hours later when those visions are playing on the back of your eyelids or whispering in the shadows of your peripheral vision as you turn off the downstairs light and scramble up the stairs quickly so that the monsters don't get you. I'm about halfway through the first season of episodes and I don't dare listen to any more tonight because it's already dark, so that shows that it must be doing something right. Farewell.
Gilder, Kyoudai.